Hello and welcome to the 22nd episode of the 10th Divine Podcast. This is a show about Elder Scrolls Online, and I'm your host, Raven, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Shanty. How you doing this week, Shanty?
Well, this was the first week back at the office, so exhausted.
Yeah.
Things didn't fall over while I was out miraculously. Most of them waited until I got back in before they started falling over.
That's disappointing.
And as you can see, I have some new specs.
Yeah. Very
thankfully, it's just computer glasses, anti-glare, that kind of stuff. I don't have to use them for driving or anything like that. No, not that old yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been an exhausting week. How about you?
Yeah, exhausted. Like, I've just had another. This has been like my fourth really terrible week at work. So yeah, it's been fucked up. And there's been too much work in it, and not enough video gaming in it, and everything has been very difficult. Yeah, it's a big mood right now. This week coming is also quite busy because I've got a couple of board meetings, but I'm hoping after that, maybe it'll like just take its foot off the gas slightly.
Would be nice.
I don't know if that's a realistic expectation about anything in life, to be fair.
That is fair.
Yeah. Anyway, here we are. The sun is shining in Buckinghamshire in England, which is why it's very bright in here. So I guess I shouldn't complain too much. It's been raining all week, so it's quite nice to see some sunshine here.
Yeah, we've had a pretty lovely week weather-wise too. We're starting to hit the 80-degree Fahrenheit, just warm enough, where because the humidity hasn't been there. But then Monday morning we're expecting snow showers. So,
okay, that seems.
It's not anything that's going to stick. It's just why it's April. Go away.
That seems uncalled for in the grand scheme of things, quite frankly. But hey, there we go. Never mind. Let's hope that that's it then for the rest of the year for you, or at least until the winter at the back end of the year.
Yes.
We are very excited to have a guest with us once again. This week we've got Yicky with us. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
And thank you for stepping in. Thank you for stepping in at short notice. I know we had a bit of a scheduling snafu with somebody else, but that's been rescheduled. We will bring it to you in a couple of weeks. So thanks for stepping in.
Absolutely. I appreciate it very much.
Let's kick off with a bit of a chat about what we've been up to in game. Shanty, did you get any gaming in? How was your charity streaming over your holiday?
I did manage to raise $85. I'm postponing the Streamathon portion until probably the first Saturday of each month for the time being. Because it was a week. It didn't go to plan. About the worst that it could have been.
No.
But yeah, so I did get a little bit of gaming in. I got some Final Fantasy 14 time, a little bit of WoW time, just basically doing the dragon races and just enjoying the Dragon Go Zoom portion still.
Yeah. The Dragon
and in ESO I started chipping away more at Cadwell Silver.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Which zone have you picked? Where you headed?
I'm still currently in Stonefalls. I've got, I think, 2 more of the story quests there before I move on to the next one for the packed portion.
Cool.
And go ahead.
No, have you done much on the anniversary celebration? Have you been opening anniversary boxes?
Kind of automatically because of one of my ads, but
I started to dislike that add-on after a bit.
Yeah, we've all got the lazy Rick Crafter. Yep. We've all got the lazy Rick Crafter. Yeah. It does slightly spoil the fun of the anniversary boxes.
It does. And then you have to go hunting into your craft bag to see what you actually got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the notification just doesn't stay on screen quite long enough for you to suss out exactly what each box gave you, because it's mixed in with the stuff that you get from the writs anyway. So
yeah. Never mind.
So How about you? Have you gotten much gaming time in?
No, not really. It's been a bit of a tough week. So in terms of working, but then also things are in a bit of an odd place just with WoW at the moment. So season 1 of not Shadowlands. Nope, we've done that one. Dragonflight is about to come to an end.
We're not going back to the Shadowlands.
No,
Let's leave that in the past.
Yeah, leave them there. But 10.1 is dropping about a month earlier than planned. So it's actually going to be dropping in the first week of May. So
which I will say is nice because then you don't have to worry about it overlapping with the launch of Necrom.
Yeah, no, that's true. We don't have 10.1 and Necrom dropping at the same time, which was a concern of mine for a while. I suspect from Blizzard's point of view, they don't have 10.1 and Diablo 4 dropping at the same time because that's the other thing that's happening at the beginning of June.
Yes.
But it has slightly snaffed up a couple of things that we were working on. So we're not going to be working towards Keystone Master for our Mythic Plus seasons, which means Monday nights, we're taking Monday nights off from group content. And then Wednesday this week, we were supposed to do a raid, but one of the tanks is on holiday. So I rustled up a spare tank. And then the not spare tank, our usual second tank, his internet went down. So I only have one spare tank. I was already using the spare tank. So we were like, okay, well, we can't go and do anything this week because we don't have enough tanks, which is just annoying, really. There's our usual spare tanks. We're all holding on to other raid lockouts for other groups. So that's really complicated. So we didn't get any group content done this week, which was quite annoying. I also then went out on Thursday because I ended up going to the office. So I also didn't do my usual Thursday night dungeons with the Law Seekers, which I have been doing in ESO. So it's been a slightly frustrating week in terms of actually getting stuff done. But I've been having a conversation with another guild leader in World of Warcraft who's hopefully going to bring some extras to our raid on Wednesday because we've got 2 bosses to go to get the current raid content cleared before the patch drops and a new raid comes along. So we should get that done, which is good. And hopefully I'll get some more time with the Law Seekers. They've got there's a casual EU, PC EU trial going on next week and next Saturday evening, which I'm hoping to finally get along to. And it sounds like we might be going to Dreadsail. So that would be
I might have to find out what time that is because, well, I would like to get that done too.
Oh, I can't look that up whilst I'm streaming, but yeah, it's in the PC EU section of the law.
I'll take a look.
Thing. It's usually 8 p.m. But sometimes, in fact, last time they messed me over by doing it a bit early. 6 p.m. There we go, 6 p.m.
Oh, perfect, because that's not 2 p.m. for me, so I won't be dead asleep.
Yeah, 6 p.m. London time next Saturday, so that should be really good. So yeah, little bits and pieces, but not as much as I want. I've got a couple of things coming up in terms of sort of relaunches for the stream and things, and I need to get some graphic stuff done and other bits and pieces. But once I've done that, I'm hoping to finally be back to actually playing some video games that I spend lots of time talking about, which would be good.
Yes. And I did. The other thing is, I did get my pre-order in just before the deadline for the pet and the mount.
I'm not a Pizza Pony fan. I'm not a Pizza Pony fan. I like a lot of the horse models. I bought myself a different new horse model. You can keep the Pizza Pony. It's fine. I don't want it.
But you get a personal pizza with it. Little horse.
Yeah. No. They sort of look like, I don't know, they give me this impression of like a real horse with a really bad skin condition. And since I have a horse who sometimes has bad skin, it's just all too real. I don't like
That's
it.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
I don't like it.
Fair.
So yeah, I do need to go and get my pre-order in, though I've been a bit skint because I've just bought a flat. So I need to go and get that in a bit once I get paid at the end of this month. Yicky, what have you been up to in game?
Well, this week was a little bit busy, but I was at least able to log on my laptop and get tickets during the event this week. But that was about as far as I went outside of being able to play with the Arcanist a little bit.
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to talk about the celebration event later on. We're not jealous at all.
No, it was
not one bit.
Not worth it at all.
Well, why don't we hasten that moment along by diving into the interview? So why don't you start by letting us know how you discovered the Elder Scrolls in general and ESO in particular?
Okay. Well, or Elder Scrolls as a whole, I'm one of the people that everybody either loves or hates. I came from Skyrim. So I was never part of the older games like Arena or Morrowind or anything like that. When Skyrim popped out, I'm like, you know what, give this a try. From an MMO perspective, I came from Lord of the Rings Online. We, myself and my lovely wife Belle, who co-streams with me a lot of the time. We started in Lord of the Rings Online in 2007, and eventually, and we played it all the way up until about 2018, and decided it's time for something new. There's some changes going on we don't really like, and one of our guildmates and longtime friends, Kudithi, was like, well, why don't you come try ESO? There's a free weekend going on. We popped on, was right during the Greymoor event. And so we popped on, and for me, I could tie, Western Skyrim into Skyrim. So I'm like, okay, I can get with this, and got hooked immediately. He was running us around, and popped on a Nightblade. I was like, I think that's usually where everybody goes. I feel like when they start out, they either start out with like a Sork or a Nightblade. There's Templar there too, but I'm like, I'm gonna try something a little bit different. Hit the Nightblade, and I was hooked. Belle had her Nightblade, Mind Stam, hers Mag, and just ran around mutilating things. We're like, I can get behind this. And then that's where we've been ever since. We haven't even gone back. So
cool. Yeah, that's how they get you in with the free weekend. Come in. The water's lovely. Free weekend.
It is. It's nice and warm, and I'm like, I don't want to get out of this pool. Down the rabbit hole we went.
Yeah, it's a good rabbit hole.
Indeed,
it is. I have had few. I can't say no complaints, but very few complaints.
We'll leave update 35 alone for now.
Yeah,
that doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's stricken from the record now.
It is. Which shall not be named.
Yeah, fair.
So,
are you a single character player, or do you have a bunch of alts ready to go for different things?
Oh gosh, that is a whole nother rabbit hole. I'm actually. I do all the classes, and I have multiples of each class in different roles. From DPS, I have all my tanks. I have every single tank because that's where I focus. But I do have, probably two of each character built in, and depending on what I'm doing, I'll run a couple different. I think I actually have 3 Nightblades. One for PvP, one for PvE, and one for tanking. And then same thing with the Necro, which is my absolute favorite. I love Necros. I am capped on characters, so thankfully they're adding more.
Yeah, you're getting slots.
And all I have to say is thank God for the armory system. That saved my hide. So I run everything. But tanking is where I sit. So that takes up at least 7 slots.
Yeah, a lot of tanks. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get your start in content creation? So are you part of the stream team? Did I read that? So
I am not part of the ESO stream team yet. Hint, nudge, nudge. Okay. I am part of the Wounded Warrior Project stream team.
Right.
Which is part of where we came in. Actually, we started on YouTube long time ago, back before YouTube was cool. For streaming and everything. Cool? That's the question. That's the loaded question. I actually started in Grand Theft Auto 5 on the roleplay side for GTA RP. back in 2017.
Okay.
And tried my hand streaming there. It never took off, but we did do a bunch of GTA 5 videos for an RP server, which was a lot of fun. And then one of our friends, Bloodborne, when we started playing Lord of the Rings Online, just kind of along the lines of, why don't you try streaming and hopping over here with us on Twitch? And so we got together, we hooked everything up and started our journey streaming Lord of the Rings Online for a couple of years. Took off really well in that community, and then moved over here into ESO and a whole different ball game. Lord of the Rings Online is a very small community. Their viewer count is around 100 people to maybe 200 on the high side, versus ESO, which can be anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000. So it was an adventure, kind of jumping in and starting to meet people. But that's kind of how we got started, and here we are. And it's been a fun ride over the last 4 years.
Cool.
Very nice. So you mentioned this earlier. You do focus on tanking. What in particular draws you to that role?
I've been tanking since I started Lord of the Rings Online. I started Guardian just on a whim. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what tanking was when I started. As most people probably don't when they started MMOs. But I was reading through the tooltips and I saw Guardian. It's a protector. It's heavy armor. It's everything like that. I'll give this a try. And then when I couldn't do DPS, I had no idea why. Everybody's coming through two-shotting everything. I'm like, I have to hit this thing with shields. What is this doing? But then I started getting into group content and absolutely just fell in love with the thought of tanking, being able to make sure, oversee the groups, make sure that, everybody's okay. And I've always had a very protective mentality, over my friends, over just people in general. And in the tanking role, that's essentially what it is, Yeah, you take all the damage, but you essentially protect your group. Similar to, I know healers do that too. So don't get mad at me, healers.
In a different way.
In a different way. Playing that support role. And I always feel like if you're gonna be a primary tank all the time, you have to have a little bit of crazy in you.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess I have that, but it's probably the most fun that I ever have in any video game. And it's interesting because people talk about that, oh, it's so complex and it's so confusing and it's so difficult to do. That's me with DPS. It's very weird. Like DPS is so stressful to me. Tanking is just, I can just sit back and chill, even if it's the most complex. Like we were talking about Dreadsail Reef earlier. I'm like, I'm just relaxing, just pulling aggro and trying not to die, but still. And I love the complexities of it and the design of tanking. So that's really what drew me to it overall.
It's quite different tanking in ESO from tanking in other MMOs.
It was a huge learning curve, but it was so much fun to learn. In classic MMOs, World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings Online, everything is very passive. It's all about building yourself as a tank, and then all of those intricacies of tanking, like blocking and dodge roll. Dodge roll doesn't exist in those other games, but that's all built into your stats. That's not something that you actively do. So with the quick pace and quick fire of ESO tanking, and the breakdown of it is so much fun, having to actually block and actually dodge roll, and learning when to do each of those. Best way, don't get hit, don't be there. And it is very different, but so much fun.
And also, aggro is much more twitchy in ESO than certainly in World of Warcraft. Like when you get aggro on something, you've got it for like 10 seconds.
And there's a lot of times DPS players will make the mistake of accidentally slotting a taunt. I've been guilty of that too.
Okay. There's a story behind that. Yes. There's been a couple times actually recently where do players where we're running through trials. I think we were in Rock Grove. It was probably a couple months ago. And I kept losing taunt on these guys. I'm like, what is going on? I know I'm taunting. And then we just asked, does anybody have inner fire on there?
Yeah.
And one of the new people's like, I do. Like, there it is.
Okay. Mystery
it does
solved.
damage. Mystery solved. So, but the running joke, there was one time, if I may tell the story.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There was one time in the Fox Den. We were running with Ninetail Fox and Mrs. Ninetails, and we were doing a teaching trial. And he was teaching everything, and I took everybody that was interested in tanking into another channel. We were doing again DSR. And so I'm explaining them the back and forth. We were doing the twins and how, what the idea is behind the tanking side of it and what needs to happen. And then we all pop back down into the main channel, and the boss is going absolutely nuts. Like, I can't hold aggro on anything. I don't have taunt on anything. It's bouncing around from person to person. I'm like, is this bugged? What's going on? And Ninetail, the jerk that he is, because he's one of my best friends, told everybody on the DPS side to slot a taunt. So there was 8 people. Well, no, we're 10, including the healers, that were all taunting every single second. And I'm sitting there losing my mind. I'm screaming like, what is happening? They're all dying laughing, and I don't know why. And every single person slotted inner fire on their bar that had it available. And the boss is just bouncing around the room, and I'm just like, I was like, I'm done.
Oh my god! How long did they let this go before they fessed up?
Oh, the entire fight. The entire fight they were going, and it was normal. So we were able to manage it because I'd pull it back for a couple seconds, and then I don't remember if we wiped on that fight or not. But it went on for at least the entire fight.
Okay.
And then they're all just like, yeah, we all slotted a taunt. I'm like, you.
Yeah. You assholes.
So that's the running joke now. Every time I tank, or at least one person's like, all right, I'm gonna go slot my taunt. I'm like, I will drop so fast. I'm like, and I know you have a hard time fighting tanks, so don't test me.
Yeah, don't push it. Don't push it. So aside from perhaps not trialing with the Fox Den, what advice do you have for somebody who's starting to tank in ESO?
Just start with the basics. It's not all about getting the end game gear. It's not all about, getting everything in purple or yellow or anything like that. Just start with the basics of tanking, learning what a taunt is, understanding mob control and the different ways to do that. The gear is a bonus. One thing that I say is, I will go and tank a vet trial in white crafted gear, and just to show that gear is not the end all be all. Mechanics are the bread and butter of tanking. So learn both the tanking mechanics and learn the mechanics of the content that you're actually doing. Start simple with face the boss the right direction, not towards your friends. And learning how the taunts work and learning the rotations of those taunts. And the biggest one that I always say is work on your resource control. As a tank, it's so very easy to suddenly sit there with no stam or no mag and you don't know why. So, just start slow, start on a low end boss, or just, even work on tanking on a trial dummy, or just any kind of dummy, and learn, what does what. You don't have to jump into vet right away. You don't have to jump into hard mode right away. Just kind of learn how things work and take it as slow as you can.
Cool. Sound advice there. I'm just going to take a couple of moments to remind you that this show is part of Bonus Roll Productions. You can find our show and lots of other great MMO-focused podcasts, such as Girls Gone WoW, A Podcast Reborn, and For Azeroth over at bonusroll.gg. You can also get merch for our show or all of the other Bonus Roll shows at etsy.com/shop/bonusrollproductions.
So we touched on this, and the jealousy is definitely not a thing at all. But you had the opportunity to attend the ESO celebration event. How was that?
Oh man, it was terrible. Probably one of the best weeks I've had in my content career. It was an absolute blast. There was so much to do, so much interaction. It was both very informative and yet very laid back. Which was a lot of really great outside of, the live streamed event, which was that hour long event. There was so much that was happening after that. Being able to hang out with all of the community, even before it started. I mean, I was turned into a meme 30 seconds into meeting everybody. Story I'll go over in a minute, but we were able to spend time with a lot of the devs, the community managers, hanging out with Gina. Had a great conversation with Finn, talking about tanking, talking about the new class, the Arcanist, and just overall in general. Hanging out with Rich and being able to talk some possible ideas for some class changes in the future. And being able to hang out with so many different people. We got to spend time with like I said, with Gina, Jess, and Amy, and talk to them. And Locke and I had probably an hour-long conversation talking about future content for the channel and everything. Had a 3-way conversation with 8 Puppies and Finn about and Hero of None, working on some tanking stuff and everything. Spending time with the Nines, sharing a room with them was absolute fun, and staying up way too late. But our first day, we ended up meeting Madigan and everybody for lunch. So we all got together and meet up with Madigan, and there was a community member that came in that I'd never met, and I was standing next to Maddie, and she introduced herself, and then she's like, "Oh, hey," and you are, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm Yicky." "Oh, I've heard you. You're usually dead in the Tipsy trials with Maddie." I'm like, I just got roasted 10 seconds into hanging out with people. So I think that's going to become a meme, and I'm going to have to make a shirt that says, "I'm Yicky. I'm the guy that's always dead," because I don't DPS. Sometimes it's for fun. I was talking to Skinny Cheeks, and then the joke is that he's my unofficial reser. So I was like, "I'll go get Yicky." Yeah. Mosey's on over. But between day one, which was the ESO event, and learning all the changes that are upcoming, seeing the new zone a little bit, and talking about Necrom, to day 2 of just hanging out and playing video games and playing pool with everybody, it was just so much fun. And y'all have to make sure you go on the next one.
Yeah, I mean, the next one is 10, so it's a pretty big deal.
That is a huge deal.
Yeah, it did look like a lot of fun. It was amazing for the start of the live streamed panel, as they were like the pulled back shots where you could see like all the audience. We were like, "Yeah, interviewed those, interviewed them." It's like, okay.
Yep, I see Nephis. I see 8 Puppies.
Yeah.
And, that was the thing, is I was sitting on chat at the same time because I was trying to get my drops too. And I see on chat, "Oh, I see Nephis. Oh, hey, there's Maddie. Oh, hey." This person, I'm like, "Yeah, we're all here."
All there. Yeah.
But that was the thing, even outside of just the content share and the information share, being able to meet and hang out with all these people that you've streamed next to, and are like being on the hard mode stream team. So being able to hang out with Nephis and 8 Puppies and Savvy Snapdragon and Locke and everybody that's on the team, and everybody that you do the streamer trials with, and now you can face to face, and it just really builds on those relationships as well, which is just the added bonus of all of that.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to go to BlizzCon on the World of Warcraft side of big conventions and get-togethers in 2019, And that was the best bit about BlizzCon, to be honest. Not so much this. I mean, the sitting in the rooms and watching the panels was amazing, but actually just seeing people and meeting people that you've only ever like been online with before there's nothing like it. It's really cool.
Yeah, having way too many drinks at an Irish pub at 11 o'clock at night and pain in the axe walking around with drinks and handing them, and you're like, I don't want any more. And just so many people to meet, so many people that you talk to and laugh with, and randomly sitting in a restaurant and Ninja 614 pops up. Hey, it pops down. It's just it just it's all a bunch of friends that just finally get to hang out, and it really just made it so much more fun than just the ESO event as a whole.
Yeah, and next year I'm going to be so broke because I'm going to try to get to ESO, and then BlizzCon is probably going to be a pretty big deal with WoW's 20th anniversary next year too. So,
that's right.
Yeah, undecided about the BlizzCon aspect. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I forgot that it's been around that long. Gosh.
Yeah. It's madness. That thing, but yeah, I would definitely like to make the ESO thing, which is obviously would be quite a big deal coming from here. But hey, airplanes do exist.
They do.
From the sort of the bit that was live streamed, what was your favorite quality of life edition that's coming with Necron?
Oh,
and I'd like to hear your take on this too, Raven.
For me, one of them. The biggest quality of life for me is probably going to be the attunable crafting stations. The consolidation to just the 4 crafting stations for all of the attunables. That's going to, because when you got the guild houses that have lines of crafting stations and you have to organize all of those, and something new comes out, a new crafting station, and you have to reorganize everything. So being able to consolidate that into just single crafting stations is probably the biggest one for me. That and the ship house.
Yeah, the ship house does look cool.
It moves.
Yeah, I was telling a friend offline, like, ESO has finally found a way to get me to spend money on housing. Like real life money is getting spent here.
Yeah, that's gonna be serious. Yes, but
don't fall off. That's in my top 2, along with Stuga the Stationary.
Yes. A lot of people when that was mentioned, I think if you ever been at a football game or anything like that, whether it's American or European football, when everybody just goes absolutely nuts, that was when that was mentioned. Everybody's talking about Necrom, everybody's talking about all these things, and everybody's cheering, and then all of a sudden Stuga's Stationary, and it's just an eruption of
yeah. I thought that was a nice tag along from the April Fool's joke.
Yes,
I thought that was a nice sort of tie in there. But yeah, I think definitely the ship boat is probably my favorite thing. And similarly, I don't really care about ESO housing at the moment, but I was like, nope, gotta have a boat. That's gotta be a thing.
The thing with the ESO housing with me is I love it, but I suck at it. Like all of the design, like I mentioned Kudithi earlier. He's absolutely brilliant at housing. He actually manages our guild house because he's just so much better at it than me. He has the Panther Fang Chapel, and it's all designed, and he has rooms for everybody in the guild, specialized to them and everything. And me, my house looks like a tornado went through it, and like there's just stuff everywhere. There's a chair randomly over here. The rug's off to the side. Things are floating. I'm like, this is not my forte, but I like it.
I have a couple of chests in one in-room, and then in my snug pod, I have the armory station, and that's it.
Yeah. I try. I absolutely try. The one thing I'm not allowed to, I'm allowed to say, but I always get yelled at for is I do have one area that I've specialized in, and it's because one of my characters is a vampire, so I've got a room upstairs that's got all of the like the little spinny hanging skeletons and stuff like that, and then it's got an Iron Maiden, and I put Jakarn inside it because it opened. The only reason I did that is because Belle, my wife, has a major crush on him.
Okay.
So every time that we do anything where he's around, she has to stop and stare at him for like 2 minutes. So I just go AFK for her. So I make sure to put him in there and close it, and she gets mad at me every single time. Like, stop doing that to my boyfriend. I'm like,
all right,
Learn your place. Fair
enough. Yeah, I find the housing editor quite frustrating to get everything. It's like you think you've got it done something, you've done it like nice, and then when you look at it, you're like, oh, it's not actually, like, it's slightly floating, or it's slightly wonky, or it's like I don't have the patience for the housing editor. I think that's my problem.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's got one of the major learning curves, and it's true endgame. I will say it's probably more difficult than a lot of the vet trials.
Yeah. Like it's certainly more
trial precise. Housing. Vet trials easier.
my snug pod at the moment, like, so I keep having to go back to Elden Root to do things. So my snug pod at the moment is the only place that I come across regularly that I'm like, oh, I could just take this random like household item out of my bags. So at the moment it just looks like a storage room. It's full of like random tree branches and random, like, because I've just been doing something, I've picked up some random housing item, and I'm like, oh, I'll just leave it here whilst I work out what I'm going to do with it. So it's just really untidy and peculiar at the moment.
Yeah.
Mostly full
of that's like, how mine is usually.
Branches. Yeah. I hate to do something about it.
Okay, so what were some of your favorite panels from the event? I know that we only got to see the one, but there were a bunch of other ones going on throughout the day.
There were multiples. There was a drawing panel. There was music. My favorite though was the AMA. It was the Ask Me Anything. And it was with everybody with the ESO dev team. But it was very just chillax. It wasn't anything that was really like structured, and we were all making fun of each other at the same time, because if you've ever talked to Nephis, he's very, very low tone, and just he just kind of, so they're all sitting there like up on stage doing this and that one, just because it had just basic, it went deep into the information, but it was just so informative and chill. That was probably my favorite one. And we talked about the Arcanist a little bit. We talked about some of the quality of life, and explained out the attunable crafting stations a little bit more. Got some more information about maybe some things that are coming in the future that we can't mention. But that one was probably my favorite, just because it was very interactive. It was very informative, and everything else was a little bit more structured behind it. The other one was definitely the artist panel. Just to see something come from a white blank slate all the way up to a full graphic. I mean, they did an amazing job.
Wow.
And drew, I think it was an area from the Deadlands, out of nowhere. Yeah, we're just like, This is insane. How do you do that?
That's really cool. My favorite BlizzCon panel is always the voice actors panel. I love those slightly more kind of behind the scenes-y type panels where it's like, this is how it's all put together and how it.
And they did do that. I didn't get to catch that one. We had a whole bunch of stuff going on as well, including the Arcanist demo and playing that. So I didn't get to catch a lot of the voice. But we did get to hang out with Wes Johnson a little bit, and say hi to him. Absolutely hilarious and a very, very cool person.
Cool. And how is the Arcanist? How's it play? How's it feel?
Woo, it's fun. It's a little bit clunky, but we were, it's been updated since then. From a tank side, it is very different, and I love it. I love where they're going with it. Because you've got the traditional side of the Dragon Knight tank, which is where most people end up kind of weaning their way. But then you've got the Arcanist, which is, I wouldn't say the polar opposite, but it's got a lot of similarities, but a lot more complexity to it. So it's not as traditional. It is very, very fun. Even for DPS, it's very flashy, and I mean it hits like a dump truck. I will tell you that much. So they might tweak it a little bit. And from a healer perspective, I was talking to 8 Puppies about it. He tested the healer side, I think, a little bit, and he's like, "This is legit. This is good stuff. I think people are really gonna love it from all sides. Whether you're DPS, tank, or healer, there's something for everything in there, and they did an amazing job with it. So looking forward to seeing everything come together. I'm spending all day Monday probably between work and sitting on the Arcanist and breaking it apart and doing, hopefully getting a solidified tank build put together for the website by the end of the week, which, subject to change, obviously, but getting that put together, lots and lots of fun. It's very, and it's got choices, so you've got the crux side, which is, the additional build, but it's not required. We were talking to Mrs. Ninetales about this. It's not a required setup. It's just an added bonus to your character. So if you choose to use it, choose not to use it. From the shield side, if you have some crux, you get some additional bonus shield, or you get some additional resistances. It's very magicka heavy. It's very it'll take some tweaking compared to the other classes that are out there right now, but it encompasses some of the Dragon Knight, some of the Warden, a little bit of Sork, and some Necro. So it kind of takes from all the goods and puts it into one.
That's so cool. I was it looks amazing. Just seeing the graphics and everything for it just looks incredible and very unlike anything we've seen before. Very unique looking. So
it is extremely unique, and it's going to take some getting used to. You're going to get those people who are like, this is terrible, but it's different. You have to it's something new. It's okay. We'll put it together. We'll get it to work. Just from the initial, we only got to play it a little bit, but just from that initial start, it was, I was like, this is it. This is good. This is going to go real well.
Cool. So as you were just saying, you had lots of fun meeting up and connecting with lots of other creators and lots of other people. Who were the favorite people? Who did you get to meet?
Oh, no. All of them. Everybody. I know that's the cliche answer, but it really was, because we got to have conversations with everybody. We've met Pain in the Axe a couple times before, and so re-meeting with Pain, the reunion was absolutely just amazing. I got to meet Ninja 614, which was awesome. Got to have a good conversation, like I said earlier, with 8 Puppies and Finn. Got to play pool with it was myself and Tweety Girl versus No Lollygagging and Lyris. We lost. It was apparently my fault.
Oh,
okay. But having conversations with Skinny Cheeks and great conversations with Locke, Savvy Snapdragon, and Hero of None. We got to meet Tigress Knox and one of our friends and mods, Matthias Moon. We talk to the Ninetales almost every single day. We have conversations, but we always love meeting up and being able to hang out, get dinners, chit chat, talk about content and the future and everything like that. It was just, being able to meet Nephis, trying to make sure I don't forget anybody. Obviously Madagon, and being able to sneak in Miss Radcore to meet him, and watch him lose his mind, like lost his ever loving mind. It was perfect. But everybody that we were, that we interacted with, I can't say there was a favorite, because everybody was just so happy to meet everybody. There was nobody there who was like, I don't want to be here.
So I have to ask, did you get a chance to meet our friend Lotus of Doom?
We did meet. Yes, we did. We didn't get to spend a lot of time together, but we definitely, had a quick chit chat. Hey, how you doing? It was a sad goodbye yesterday, when everything closed, and made sure that we gave each other a hug and made sure we said our goodbyes. Got to do the same thing with Jay Hart as he rigged the giveaways as he does, and being able to meet and talk with Lucky Ghost for a little bit as well, and Dash. So it was just, there was no favorite. Everybody was absolutely amazing, and it was the best few days that we could have.
Oh, it does sound incredible. It does sound incredible.
I had to say the J Hart rigging the giveaways, because that was the running joke for the weekend for him and I. So
fair enough.
He didn't actually do it. Disclaimer. It was well earned. I'm just salty. I'm jealous.
Well, we are very jealous of you being able to go to the event. It sounds incredible.
It is. And it was a huge thank you to, and I made sure to say this to him personally, but to all the Bethesda and ZOS employees that came out. They were absolutely legend. Just watching them run around, like Gina and Chess and Finn and Amy and everybody just running around, and never losing an ounce of energy. I'm like, how are you doing this with everything that they have to share, everything they can't share, and Rich and all them, and they're just always smiling, and they absolutely loved to do it. And so a huge thank you to them for putting it all together. I know it was not easy to do.
Yeah, indeed.
Most amazing community managers and devs that I've ever met.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, absolutely. So we just have a few more questions. This is just for fun before we get out of here. So if you could take one species or race from Nern and just plop them into our reality, which would you choose?
I would have to say the Indrik. I know they're jerks. But they're such beautifully designed animals. I mean, they're absolutely amazing. All the different types, everything. I love them. I know they will beat the ever living crud out of you if you attack them, but
fair.
Probably one of my favorite species in the game.
Cool. Which species do you think would make the best house pet?
I'd have to go with a griffin.
Oh, okay.
I have to say a griffin. Giant winged chicken. How can you go wrong?
How could you go
wrong?
I
guess chickens have wings, but but I need a ride to work. Let's go.
Yeah. Having my own personal griffin would be very useful. Currently, I've just recently moved out of London and into the countryside for various complicated reasons, and now London feels like quite a long way away. So yeah, having my own personal griffin. I've got a rooftop apartment here, so I just live on the roof.
There you go. Yeah, perfect. Fly wherever you need to go. Don't have to worry about traffic.
Yeah,
except for air traffic. Stay out of the way of airplanes.
There's not much air traffic around here. It's all right.
There you go. That works.
Probably not so true once you get into London, but let's gloss over the details. You'd have to fly over Heathrow. That would be bad.
There you go. What is that over there? It's just a griffin.
Yeah, it's a griffin.
What is that on the radar?
Fine.
All right, finally, we have our signature question. Why is AD the best faction?
Oh, that's a very good question. Very good question. Yes, I am wearing my Ebon Heart Pact shirt. Wood Elves and Khajiit. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the most diplomatic answer you could have given. That we have a Wood Elf host and a Khajiit host.
Yep. Definitely those two, and for the Pact. What?
Yeah. That's fair. It's fair. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and letting us know all about the wonderful celebration weekend. We are so jealous. I'm so glad that everybody had a great time. Can you let our listeners know where they can find you and all of your things?
Yes. I am on Twitch at twitch.tv/Yicky. You can also find all of my socials, all of my builds, guides, and YouTube content over on yicky.net, which is my official website.
Cool. Thank you for tuning into the show. If you've enjoyed it, please let other people know and give it a review wherever you are listening to us. Rating and reviewing the show helps other people find it. You can give it a review at the moment over at the Bonus Roll podcast directory. Go to bonusroll.gg/directory to find it. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can find us on Twitter whilst it's still there at 10th Divine Pod, or you can email us at 10thdivinepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to find us in other places, you can find me, Raven, over at Girls Gone WoW if you're a World of Warcraft fan, or if tabletop RPGs are more your thing, check out As the Dice Roll, where I'm part of the crew of the Cautious Optimism. You can also find me as Silky Raven on Twitter, Twitch, or Instagram, or over at the GGW Discord, which is girlsgonewild.net/Discord. There's a channel over there for ESO chatter and lots of other gaming chat.
And you can find me, Shanty, on Twitter or Twitch, streaming ESO on Tuesdays and Thursdays and other MMOs on Wednesdays and Friday nights at Shantyman Gaming. If blogs are your thing, you can check out my Road to Endgame series on the Bonus Roll website. You can also find me on the Girls Gone WoW Discord, joining it in the ESO chatter and gaming chat, and a whole variety of other gaming Discords. Feel free to say hello if you happen to see me online.
Thanks very much, everyone. We will be back in a fortnight with another lovely chat about ESO. Bye-bye.